Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering someone had been taking money from you every single day. Not hundreds, not thousands, just a little. Enough that you never noticed. Enough that 10 years later, the damage is enormous. Sounds illegal, right? The scary part? It's completely legal. And almost everyone is paying it. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, cumulative inflation between 2020 and 2025 eroded purchasing power by over 23% for the average American household. In the UK, the Bank of England reports a 22% decline in the purchasing power of the pound over the same period. In India, the rupee lost nearly 30% of its purchasing power against goods and services over the last 5 years. This is the invisible tax nobody talks about. The invisible tax nobody talks about. Part 1 of today's double episode. This one will change how you look at every price tag. Most people think taxes only come from the government. Income tax, sales tax, property tax. But there's another tax. One that's never listed on a bill, never arrives in the mail, never asks for your permission. Yet it affects almost every purchase you make. It's inflation. And the reason most people don't understand it is because it was never explained to them. The U.S. Federal Reserve targets 2% annual inflation. That sounds small. But 2% per year over 30 years cuts the purchasing power of money in half. Half. Silently. Without a single bill arriving. In pounds, euros, rupees, or dollars, the math is identical. Time multiplies the invisible tax. The coffee experiment. Imagine your favorite coffee costs 100 rupees today. That's roughly $1.20 US. About 95 pence in the UK. No problem. A year later, 105 rupees. Then 110. Then 120. Then 130. Most people shrug. It's only a few rupees. Only pennies. But that's exactly how the invisible tax works. Not through one massive hit. Through thousands of tiny ones. Multiply that across rent, groceries, transport, insurance, energy, and suddenly the person earning the same salary they earned 5 years ago is living a meaningfully poorer life without a single dramatic event happening. Humans are terrible at noticing slow change. If prices doubled overnight, everyone would panic. If prices rise slowly, people adapt. That's exactly why inflation is so dangerous. It doesn't feel like a crisis until years later. The real cost. Think about this carefully. If your income grows 5% this year but your expenses grow 6%, did you actually get richer? No. You moved backwards. Just slowly enough not to notice. That's the trap millions of people are living through right now. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco, real wages, meaning wages adjusted for inflation, actually declined for many workers in the early 2020s despite nominal pay increases. People got raises and fell behind. Simultaneously, the wealthy understand something most people don't. They don't focus only on earning money. They focus on protecting purchasing power. Because earning more isn't enough if everything you buy costs proportionally more. You must also defend your money. Why young adults feel it more than anyone. Previous generations made financial mistakes too. But today's 22 to 35-year-olds faced something structurally different. Housing costs have surged well beyond wage growth. Rent has surged. Graduate debt has surged. Energy and food costs have surged. The invisible tax compounds on top of all of it. Which is why many fully employed young adults feel like they're running faster and getting nowhere. This isn't failure. This is arithmetic. But the people who understand what's happening gain an enormous advantage over those who don't. Because awareness is where defense starts. The invisible tax isn't stealing your future overnight. It's stealing it slowly, quietly, patiently. The people who notice it early start building differently. But here's the shocking part. Even if you understand inflation, even if you protect your purchasing power, most people still get stuck. Because they're climbing the wrong ladder entirely. And they don't realize it until decades later. Part 2 of today's episode covers the framework nobody explained. 5 levels of wealth. Most people never get past level 2. But once you see the full ladder, you'll instantly know where you are. And more importantly, how to move up. What if most people spend their entire lives climbing the wrong ladder? Not because they're lazy. Not because they're not smart. Because nobody ever showed them the actual levels of wealth. There are 5. Most people reach level 2 and think they're done. A smaller group reaches 3. Very few reach 4. The people at level 5? They understood something the others never saw. Once you understand this ladder, you'll instantly know where you are. And exactly what to do next. The wealth ladder nobody explained. Part 2 of today's double episode. 5 levels. 1 framework. And a question at the end that matters more than any advice I can give you. Level 1. Survival. At level 1, money controls everything. A surprise expense feels like a disaster. One missed paycheck creates real stress. The month is longer than the money. Most people don't stay here forever. But almost everyone starts here. The goal at level 1 isn't wealth. The goal is stability. This is the foundation. And trying to skip it is the first mistake most people make. You cannot build level 2 on top of level 1 instability. In any currency, dollars, pounds, euros, rupees, stability is the prerequisite to everything that follows. Level 2. Security. This is where life becomes less stressful. Bills get paid on time. There's a savings buffer. You're not panicking every month. Most people feel a deep sense of relief reaching level 2. And that's exactly the trap. Many people mistake security for wealth. They're comfortable, but they're not free. And because they're no longer in pain, the urgency to move forward disappears. Level 2 is where most working adults live permanently. Not because they can't advance, because they don't realize level 3 exists. Level 3. Freedom. This is where things get genuinely interesting. At level 3, work becomes a choice rather than a necessity. You can take risks, learn new skills without financial fear, change careers without catastrophe, start a business with a safety net. Most people think money buys things. At level 3, you understand the truth. Money buys options. And options are what create opportunity. This is where the quality of decisions improves dramatically because they're no longer made from desperation. Level 3 is the first level where you can actually choose your path. Level 4. Leverage. This is the level nobody talks about. Because this is where wealth starts accelerating. At level 4, you stop trading time directly for money. Your systems work without you. Your skills compound. Each skill makes the next one easier to acquire. Your reputation compounds, past work generates future opportunities. Your network compounds, relationships create leverage that effort alone cannot replicate. Everything moves faster here. A year of work at level 4 can produce what took 5 years at level 2. This is where the gap between average and extraordinary begins to form. And it's visible. You can see it in the results, but only if you understand what level the person is operating from. Level 5. Ownership. This is where the game changes completely. At level 5, you own things that continue working whether you're awake or asleep. Businesses, brands, intellectual property, investments, assets, equity. But notice something critically important about this level. Ownership is the top of the ladder, not the first step. Most people see the result of level 5 and try to start there. They skip stability. They skip security. They skip freedom. They skip leverage. And then they wonder why it falls apart. The wealthiest people in any country didn't start at level 5. They climbed, level by level, building foundations that could support what came next. The mistake most people make. People obsess over level 5. They ignore levels 2, 3, and 4. They want the results before building the foundations. They see someone's level 5 outcome and try to copy the strategy without the structure. And it doesn't work. Because wealth isn't built in giant leaps. It's built one level at a time. Each level enables the next. You cannot have lasting ownership without leverage. You cannot build leverage without freedom. You cannot have freedom without security. You cannot have security without stability. Now, the question. Right now, honestly, which level are you on? Not where you want to be. Not where social media says you should be. Where are you today? Because the fastest way forward starts with an honest answer to that question. Today covered 2 frameworks that most people never learn. The invisible tax that erodes your purchasing power quietly every year. And the 5-level wealth ladder that shows where you actually are versus where you think you are. But here's something even stranger. Many people reach higher levels of income and still never become wealthy. Why? Because income and wealth are not the same thing. And most people spend decades confusing one for the other. Tomorrow's episode, Why High Earners Stay Broke. This one completely changes how you think about salary. Subscribe to UDC and turn on notifications. And drop a comment, which level of the wealth ladder are you on right now? I read every single reply.